This is my Topo Toppers Mesa pop-up wedge camper on my Nissan Frontier. I had this installed on my truck in March of 2023. This is part 8 of my camper build series. Today I'm going to talk about all of the electrical work I've done in the camper. Pretty much everything else that I've done has already been covered in one of the previous episodes. I will put links to all of those in the description below. Now, my usual disclaimer, this is not a how-to video. I'm just going to show you what I did. I don't consider myself qualified to instruct anyone on really how to do anything. So I'm going to kind of walk you through the finished product here, what I did. I'll try to explain why I made some of the choices I made, and I will show you some of the installation process that I filmed while I was doing it. So in a way here, I've actually built 3 completely separate systems. One system is simply to power lights and accessories in the camper itself. I've got various LEDs installed in a number of places. I also have some USB charging ports in a couple of places, and I have a 12-volt outlet up by the bed that runs my electric blanket when I need it. All of that is powered by my Jackery 1500, which I've installed right in here. The Jackery 1500 can be recharged off of the truck when I'm driving. I got a set of 4 of these LED lights off of Amazon. They were very inexpensive. They mount easily with just self-adhesive strips. I think it can work fine. They're very lightweight. I just used the blue tape just so I could get things laid out and make changes if I realize I made a mistake. But now I'm gonna more securely secure it. Okay, so I've got all that wire like tidied up and secured. I think that Gorilla Tape is going to hold it just fine. It's going to get held in place by the insulation anyway. Okay, the blocks installed. Now I'm ready to start making all these connections and putting it all together. Alright, so that's all put together. And the way this works is so that outgoing DC power from the Jackery, there's the positive from the Jackery and there's the negative from the Jackery. And so each of these pairs is connected, and then you see this little jumper here. So this jumper will basically connect all of these. So these 12 terminals are basically all connected in one block. So the power comes in here, and so this brings power to all of these spots. And then same thing here, here's the black, the negative from the Jackery is there, and it connects to there because those two are connected, and then this jumper brings it to all of these, and since those are connected, that brings all of those. So one block of positive, one block of negative, all those connected up. In theory, it should all work. I just need to actually connect the actual devices to the wires. I ordered most of the components from Amazon, though I also picked up a few items locally. I will put links to as much as possible in the description below. The white LED lights did also include mounting brackets in addition to the self-adhesive backing, and I used the brackets in a couple of places by just drilling screws into the insulation. The lights weigh very little, and this has held up fine over the past several months. I wasn't fond of this visible wire here, so I used a little scrap of the wallpaper to help it sort of disappear. Alright, so I was able to wedge that in just up underneath that lip and between that bolt. Didn't take into account the thickness of the adhesive pad, and so it was a little tricky, but I did get it up in there, and I had just barely enough wire to make that work. So if I come down here and turn on the power, so this is going to power that block right there, which is now theoretically powering all these things. Oh, we got power there on the USB. Yes. 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 And inside my cargo door kitchen here, I've got one more of these LED lights so I can illuminate my kitchen, my cooking area, when it's dark outside. And this has worked out great. Out of curiosity, let's see. One of those running 6 watts with one of those running. So 2 of those running 15 watts. I don't think I normally would ever actually want all of these on, but that's 31 watts to light it all up like that. Because this camper is such a small space, I wanted to get lights that had switches right on them. So I wouldn't have to run, extra wiring for switches. It just makes it, intuitive. I need light here. I just push on it right there. They're easily reachable at any time to turn on, turn off. Also right here at the head of my bed, you will see I've got a standard USB and USB-C charging port so I can charge my phone at night. And here is a standard 12-volt cigarette lighter style outlet that I plug my electric blanket into. And here I've got a switch that turns that on or off. I have a very basic 12-volt electric blanket. It has no timer, it has no switch, no electronics at all. It's either just on when it's plugged in or it's off. When I set up my bed, I plug in the electric blanket here, and then I can just switch it on, when I'm getting ready for bed so it starts to warm up. Usually an hour or 2 into the night, I'm more than warm enough. I can just reach up and switch it off. If I wake up at 3, 4 in the morning and I've gotten a little chilled, reach up, turn it back on, get that nice heat. This is a great system for staying warm at night without burning fuel to heat the entire space. I did also install these very basic, inexpensive, self-adhesive LED strips. I've got one right here, and down sort of hidden below here, I've got another. Now these don't have switches on them. I did run switches for the red lights because I installed these for getting up in the middle of the night, and I wanted these right here next to my bed. When the bed is deployed, it comes to about here, and I can just reach up, turn one of these on, or more commonly I turn on the one that shines down below so that's not in my eyes. It gives me enough light to get out of bed, go outside, do what I need to do, come back in without, getting blinded by standard light. Now, had I realized I was going to mount these switches here with this other stuff, I would have just got a bigger panel that had more switches in it. But I thought I was going to put these around the camper right where the individual red lights were going to be. Near the tailgate, I installed USB charging ports so I can easily charge my phone while puttering around camp. I thought these little spring-loaded covers would be a good idea to keep the ports clean, but they're kind of a headache to fumble with, and I wish I had just used plain uncovered ports instead. The second independent system is for my Viair 300p air compressor. Now, I've installed this as an onboard air system. I've mounted it in here, and from here the hose reaches all 4 tires. This is wired directly to the truck battery on its own system, independent of everything else. The system does have an inline fuse, and I have run a heavier gauge of wire to support the amount of amperage that this pulls. I have a kill switch for the system right here, so it is not actually connected to the battery unless I turn this on. I did also wire up an extra red LED strip that I had so that I've got some light here if I'm doing this at night, or if I need just some light in this compartment if I need to work on something. With that switched on, I can power up the compressor. When I'm done, put everything away, shut the switch off. The third system is for my fridge. Now, it's technically not connected to the camper in any way, but it is sort of a related electrical system. When I'm driving, this runs off of the truck power, and when I'm in camp, this runs off my Jackery 1000, which I keep in the cab here. I've set up a way to very easily switch back and forth between those 2 power sources, as well as easily send truck power to the Jackery 1000 when it needs to be recharged. Now this is not a thing of beauty, but this is something I have wanted to do in some way for years, and I finally sort of came up with a way to do it. This box that I've mounted here in place of the armrest on the center console is something I actually found in my garage. Somebody left it there. I don't know if it was Braxton or maybe if it was Enoch, but this box, I believe that was originally for holding some sort of electrical components, but it fit perfectly here. I mounted it on there, and it contains all the wiring that I needed to accomplish this.
My dirt cheap Harbor Freight drill press made it quick and easy to drill precise holes for the switches.
I know this maybe looks kind of crazy, but it's very simply logical, and after getting everything all connected up here, I have methodically worked my way back through every single connection, all the flow, to make sure that everything I've done is connected the way it needs to be connected. So the switches here accomplish a few different things. I've got one main switch here that powers this whole thing, and it turns on this set of USB charging ports, which currently is just running my GPS unit. With this on, I can now send truck power to the fridge using this switch here, or when I arrive at camp, I can flip this switch to the other direction and it will connect the fridge to the Jackery 1000, so it runs off of that. When I'm driving, I can send power either to the Jackery 1500 charging or to the Jackery 1000 charging. Now I only do those when the truck is running. Charlie. And I built this with some indicator lights so that I could easily see if I leave anything turned on. Yes, each of these three systems is protected by its own fuse. All of the systems are connected directly to the battery. I wanted everything independent of the truck's electrical part in case I made a mistake or screwed something up, or something were, you know, to get damaged, to go wrong down the line. I didn't want to take any chances with whatever I did to interfere with the truck's electrical system. But each of those systems does have an inline fuse protecting it, or something to go wrong at some point would, you know, cut off power to that system. Right, Charlie? On the driver's side of the Frontier, there is a rubber sort of pass-through in the firewall that this harness comes through, and you can poke through and run other wires there, and it comes out. There's the brake pedal, and then right up in here, there's kind of a bulged out part of that insulation, and that rubber gasket is right behind there, and you can get wires through there. When I deleted the 40 portion of my 60/40 back seat to install this support that I made for my fridge, it revealed a bolt hole here. This is normally where part of the seat would be bolted in, but this bolt hole actually goes all the way through right to the outside. So I have been using that for years now to get wire from the cab of the truck into the back of the truck. Now the Frontier, at the front of the bed of the truck down low, there are these little caps that protect these holes that just go to the outside. I've got the other one I had already perforated previously. I wasn't currently using it, so I'm going to move it here, run the wire through that one, and then this good one I'm going to put over in the other hole on the other side. So I hope you found this helpful or interesting or useful in some way. Now obviously this was not a how-to video. That's not what this whole camper build series is about. There is ample information available on YouTube and elsewhere on the internet on wiring 12-volt systems like this. It's very simple. You know, there's just a few things that you need to be aware of. With a little bit of research, there's plenty of information available to get you going on that. This has just been to show you what I've done with my build, just show you, you know, what's possible, just give you some ideas, inspiration, hopefully.
If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. And thank you, as always, for watching.